Have you ever noticed how our stories about the future almost always end with robots trying to kill us? I mean, from the Terminator to the Matrix, we have this deep cultural obsession with our own creations turning on us. And now that AI is becoming more real every single day, it feels like it's time to ask, why are we so obsessed with this specific kind of doomsday? Well, let's jump right in with this great quote from author Jenna Mareshi. Her point is that the whole dystopian genre, which used to feel so fresh and honestly terrifying, has kind of hit a wall. It's become this feedback loop of the same ideas, the same plots, and yeah, the same fears again and again. So let's take a quick little tour through what you might call dystopia's greatest hits. These are the tropes that are so common now, they're almost comforting in how predictable they are. Okay, first up, the teenager who somehow, against all odds, topples a government that's been around for centuries. I mean, this kid can't even figure out their love life, but sure, they're our last best hope for taking down a super complex, technologically advanced authoritarian regime. Right. Makes perfect sense. And then, of course, you have factions. For some reason, in the future, society gets rebuilt by dividing everyone up by one single, totally arbitrary personality trait. You've got the brave people over here, the smart people over there. And the stories hardly ever explain why, maybe because they're banking on what Moresi calls the idea that reading and thinking don't happen simultaneously. And we can't forget our main character. They're always described as plain, ordinary, maybe a little bit dirty, and yet the two hottest, most capable people in the entire wasteland are ready to fight to the death just for their affection. It's total wish fulfillment, and like Moresi so elegantly puts it, it's just a little unbelievable. Okay, so we've established the tropes are repetitive. We get it. But that just brings up a way bigger question. If these stories are so cliché, why are they still so wildly popular? It kind of suggests they're tapping into a very real, very deep anxiety, especially one that feels incredibly relevant right now, our fear of a machine takeover. And this is where we make the jump from fiction to reality. Because, the monsters we've been writing stories about for decades are starting to look a whole lot like the technology we're building in the real world. I'm talking, of course, about artificial intelligence. When we try to imagine a world actually run by a superintelligence, the predictions are just all over the map. You have scholars outlining everything from a libertarian utopia where robots do all our work for us, all the way to the other end of the spectrum, which is, our complete and total extinction. With possibilities like that, it's no wonder we're all a little on edge. And this isn't just some abstract philosophical fear. Nope, it is very, very concrete. A Gallup poll from 2023 shows that a full 3/4 of Americans are worried about AI's most immediate, tangible impact, taking away jobs. This isn't sci-fi anymore. This is a real economic anxiety that people are feeling today. That ultimate fear, the one that's really lurking underneath all those doomsday stories, it has a name: existential risk, or X-risk for short. This is the core terror. The idea that we could build something that has both the power and the reason, whether it's intentional or not, to just wipe us out completely. But look, to really understand the actual risk here, we have to make a distinction that our favorite sci-fi stories almost always get wrong. We need to untangle two very different concepts: consciousness and capability. Or you could say consciousness and intelligence. So here's the key distinction. On one side, you have consciousness. That's the subjective, internal experience, the what it feels like to be something, your inner life. And on the other side, you have intelligence, which, in AI terms, is just the ability to achieve goals. It's the difference between an inner life and an outer capability. And this really hammers the point home. The real danger, the existential risk, it doesn't come from consciousness. It comes from intelligence, from raw capability. And that's exactly why so many AI safety researchers are most worried about what they call a zombie AI, something that is super, super powerful, but has no inner life at all. And hey, don't just take it from me. AI pioneer Yoshua Bengio puts it pretty bluntly. He says, we don't really understand consciousness, and it might not even be necessary for superintelligence. What will matter are the capabilities of these systems. The danger is in what it can do, not what it feels. So if the real risk is different from what we see in the movies, what does that say about our stories? Well, it turns out our fear of machines has pretty much always been a powerful metaphor for a much more personal human conflict. Storyteller Chris Oatley breaks this down just perfectly. He explains that the external man versus machine conflict is really just a tool. It's a device to force the internal man versus self conflict. The Terminator isn't just a story about a killer robot. It's really about whether Sarah Connor will become as cold and as hard as the machine that's hunting her. And the most powerful part of these stories is the paranoia, that sense of guilt. Because think about it. Unlike a hurricane or an earthquake, we built the machines. So when they turn on us, there's this nagging feeling that we're just facing the consequences of our own greed and our own ambition. That feeling that, yeah, we brought this upon ourselves. And here is the final twist. This feeling, this specific blend of fear over losing your job and the paranoia that we've literally created our own replacement, it is not new. Not at all. Take a look at this. A 2024 YouGov poll shows a clear majority of people today believe AI is going to decrease the number of jobs available. It is the dominant fear in our current conversation about technology, right? Okay, now compare that to this quote from a newspaper in 1786. Thousands are destitute because of new machinery. How will they provide for their families? Does that sound familiar? It's the exact same fear. Just swap out large language models for steam-powered looms. When you lay it out on a timeline like this, you can see a clear pattern, like a rhythm of techno-panic. From the Luddites smashing machines back in the 18th century all the way to the Hollywood writers striking over AI in the 21st, every major technological leap is met with the same profound anxiety about being replaced and about what it means to be human. So here's the real takeaway. Our stories about machines, whether it's a repetitive teen dystopia or a panicked news headline, they've always been mirrors. They just reflect our anxieties back at us about our creations, our jobs, and our place in the world. That repetition isn't just lazy writing. It's a symptom of a deeper fear, that we're stuck in a cycle, maybe unable to imagine a different ending. And that leads to the final question we should all be asking ourselves. What story are we telling about AI right now? And is it the only one we can write? Have you ever